Good morning, everyone, and it's good to be back in New York with the goats and the 30-degree weather. And I'm not even joking. And so here we are. Let's get at it. A lot of moving parts to cover, and I've been posting pieces of it on Twitter or Substack or Discord here and there and everywhere. And I'll just kind of get at it and we'll circle around. So, anyway, I was in the air yesterday when this happened. Let's just do this just for fun. I was in the air yesterday when this happened. Where was it? Here it is. When we closed, wherever we closed, and we had that nice gap down, broke 6,600. I was in the air 10 o'clock. I didn't know anything about it. And I landed and I saw something like this mess. And I got back. I got in front of my computer and we were somewhere up here. So here was yesterday. And so quick take on yesterday. 6630 is a magic CTA trigger based on Nomura. I put a note out somewhere. And I hope this should be obvious. Nobody knows the exact trigger. There's no one magic line like 6631 or 29, etc. Different people, Nomura, Citadel, Goldman Sachs, whatever, Bank of America, have their different estimates based on what they see in flows, etc. And there's longer term and shorter term triggers. There's not one monolithic CTA fund. The CTA stands for Commodity Trading Advisors, but they don't just trade commodities. They're basically trend following hedge funds or algos. So anyway, that was a Nomura level-ish. And we broke it, and we sure seemed to act like it mattered, right? Of course, since that number is widely publicized and read, I guess people front run it, whatever. And so we kind of, where was it? We broke down below it, hit this inflection point, bounced back up, trying to regain with some kind of level of respectability over 6650. And then I think leverage ETF selling started kicking in right around 230. So remember, the leverage ETFs have to rebalance at the end of the day. What are leverage ETFs? Think TQQQ, SPXL, the NVDA, and all those single stocks leverage ETFs. And they have to rebalance based on their exposure today for tomorrow and their assets under management and how many people are buying and selling, etc. Whatever the math is behind that, that results in selling more in NDX and NASDAQ related names, which of course spill over into the SPX. And so we get this. We've been getting a lot of that lately. That's what I think. I'm pretty sure I'm right. At least that was part of it. I wasn't really in front of the computer for all this. I was kind of back and forth. And so here we are, pretty much same neighborhood. And we'll look at the levels for today for a minute on options depth and a few other platforms maybe. And we'll see what we could see. But I'll give you the short version of it. It's a mess. If you wanted to call it a snow day or a beach day or whatever it is, that will be fine. If you're a scalper like my buddy here, Chewy, then you're going to love it. You just have to be real fast. You're going to have to be fast today, kids. So aside from this mess of a breakdown chart, let's hit on a few of the obvious points or main points before we get into some of the more nuancy stuff. That's not what I wanted to see. That's not what I wanted to see either. That's more nuancy stuff. Okay, discuss amongst yourselves. If you have anyone old enough to watch Saturday Night Live, knows what that's referring to. Six-panel layout, that's the one. Okay, so let's take a quick look in the vol space with a quick disclaimer. I'm not a mixologist, but I've gotten dragged into the space kicking and screaming. And so here we are. And so yesterday, we kind of top ticked 25, above 25. And I think we closed just below 25. I can't find the exact closing. Where was it? Somewhere around here, like 24 and change. We closed right around here somewhere. No, up here. We closed up here, 24 and change, right below 25. And if there's time, I'll show you the VIX options profile. But if you just look in the chain, you'll see huge open interest at 25 in the November Vixpwey, which is today, 9:30. A whole big stack between 20 and 25, and that's what dragged us up, and that's kind of what, in theory, pulled us down. And then we have Vixpwey today, and that always makes for fun. Now, notice, I'm sure many of you have, and I pointed it out in case you didn't, that VIX 9-day was higher than VIX. VIX 9-day, like right now, we have a VIX 9-day is 24, and this is 23. VIX 9-day at the close yesterday, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think was over 25, and the VIX was under 25, and was higher all day. So what does that mean? The VIX 9-day, as the name implies, is an estimate of volatility 9 days out. What do we mean by volatility? Well, it's simply the options premiums for different tenors, different strips of SPX options, same formula that they use for VIX, only for the VIX 9-day. The way they determine the VIX 9-day is go out in time 9 days from whatever day we're looking at the VIX 9-day, and then take the Friday expiration right before 9 days, which is this Friday, 2 days from now, and the expiration, which is also monthly OPEX, and then take the expiration the Friday after 9 days from now, which would be next Friday, all that juicy stuff packed in there. And that's what the VIX 9-day is. So short term, nervousness. The VIX, which is 30 days, does the same calculation. 30 days the Friday before, the Friday after. I didn't look granularly to see exactly what falls into that. And here's the VIX futures. There's a pretty big difference between the futures. Now, this is I believe this is the current contract. So I think this is what's supposed to equal VIX. So, it's kind of like, when you look at a picture, like as a kid or like in the newspaper, which one is not like the other? Well, there's something wrong here somewhere. So I would think this VIX has to come down to here at the open, near-ish, or this comes up, or they meet somewhere in the middle. There's a pretty arcane SOQ, special opening quote process for getting the VIX. I can explain it, but then we'd be here for another 10 minutes listening to that crap. And so I'm going to skip that. What I'm going to point out also is that Where's V? Oh, I got the wrong thing over here. Hold on. Here I want VVIX. And VVIX, the volatility, same formula we use to calculate VIX, we meaning CBOE, only looking at VIX options. And VIX options premiums were jacked. No way about it. So the vol space is stressed. Not surprising. We have NVDA earnings today after the close. So in Palo Alto for fun. Throw in all the retail earnings that we had recently, which we could pretend there's a read-through of consumer spending and the health of the consumer or the economy or not, and all the macro bros and fundamental people could talk about that stuff. Throw in NFP tomorrow, throw in the leak of NFP or the partial unemployment data that came out yesterday that showed up on the BLS website. They didn't expect it to, they say. Throw in the Fed minutes today at 2 o'clock, I believe. And we have VIX expiration. Then we have options expiration on Friday. So there's really not much going on. So nothing to explain this volatility. Sarcasm. Haha. Okay. So that's what's going on here. Quick look at what's going on. I got this screwed up somehow. I have to readjust the dashboard. That's not my strong suit. But let's just try to look at this. Hopefully you can see the numbers. Let me just kind of make it not as, I think I'm probably going to screw this up, but let's see. All right, you can see it a little bit. Okay. So right now we're here. So we have this 6640 to 6650 market maker, long gamma, kind of stally, sticky, and that's kind of where we stalled and stuck. What's this? 6635, kind of right where we are. So we see this fly-like structure with this sticking in here. And before I get too granular, let me just point something out here. Fishbone pattern, or as my former mentor used to like to call it, a frog in a blender pattern. Red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. Customers long calls all the way up from 6635 to 6680 is the first one that sold, and long calls up here at 6695, long calls up here. So there's a stack of long calls that could pull us up, or if they're held and they decay, could push us down. On the put side, we've got sold puts all the way, we have some long puts over here at 6635, bracketed by sold puts. That's kind of where we're stuck. But, capital B-U-T-T, but below 6615, it looks like, kind of where we closed. Duh, somebody sold the close. We have this pretty big stack of customer long calls, market makers, short magnet dragging us down. And then down below 6570, we start having some more sellers show up. Now let's just get the frog in the blender look, because it's splendid for your eyes. And then let's get rid of this. And so here's what we have to hedge. So this is a mess. This is a mess. That's the technical term for this. And so with volatility, compression, at least some, point or two or three.
Son Enarok's Oil Minister discussed Leclerc West Kerner 2 stake.
Say again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Anyway, with volatility compression, we could get some buyback from here and charm at the end of the day, depending if this stuff is still here, it decays, and that says deal is buying, and whatever's on top here is kind of where we might stall out, or vice versa. These calls decay up here and we get attracted, pulled down to here or down to here.
You're behind the markets. If you're a real day trader, go real time at financialjuice.com/purchase and save 67% on the subscription. Isn't that one big, huge, brilliant deal? Come on, people.
I'm not sure what that was, but did you guys hear that? Or was that just like me hearing it from somewhere?
Yeah, I think someone's pushing their Discord or something using Trump's voice.
Good. Well, I hope you got a lot of business. So, give me an affiliate link. Give me an affiliate link, guys. Whoops. Oh, no, I don't want to be showing that. Okay, so that's that. So let's change. I gotta change. I was messing around with this yesterday and I kind of screwed it up. Okay, so here's where we are, and hopefully you can see these numbers. So 66.60, we have some long calls, but they have to fight through this. But if you can, I don't know if you can, how well you can see the numbers. They're 260, 300, 785. So they're not huge. 66.25 is decent size sold put support, but right below it is choppy 6,600. The long knives are out and there's long puts there. That could be a magnet. And then below there, we guys have a bunch of selling. But none of the numbers are big until we get down like below 6,500, which I think I sold yesterday. Because that's how I roll. I did get here early enough to say, wow, we're down there 6,600 and there's Goose 100 points away and VIX is 25, I'm selling. And so that's that. Let's take a quick look. I'm not even sure what's going to show up. But let's take a quick look at VIX. So here's what's in the chain here. And without getting too granular, so there's 21 customer long. This is kind of, this area is what we should close over, I'm guessing, and kind of can charm up in here somewhere. We had customer long calls over here, so we were bracketed by this. And you have a lot of sold ones here, because remember, people like me do VIX flies or VIX ratios, buy one, sell two, whatever, etc. And so you have a lot of that stuff in between. And once this goes bye-bye, then the Decembers have less gamma. So once this is kind of re-hedged, they have less gamma. Why less gamma? Because remember, gamma is dependent on time distance from spot as well as price, from expiry as well as price. So you're going to have some price here, some deltas that have to be balanced, but then that's not going to change as quickly as what's expiring 0 DTE. Okay, we got that. All right, I'm gonna See if I can find this. Where is this? Grow a Substack. Not the one. That looks right. Yeah, okay. Now I'm gonna shut up and let Chewy talk. And also we have some specials that we're trying to get pumped out. I don't know where we are on the back end stuff, but we do have one that's going now that's 3 months with a discount, and we'll get some Black Friday stuff out there. And he'll tell you about that as well as about the ES levels. And so take it away.
Yeah, so let me go into the ES levels first. What I'm looking for is, I'll give you my upside plan first, is if we can hold 6650, 6647, I'm going to be targeting upside. First target is going to be 6680. After that, 6695. That's kind of my upside range move. There's always I always kind of like to give you a lotto extension, which for me today would be around 6760.
So with the allow extension, you kind of like leave a runner or whatever. Is that your basic method?
That's exactly right. Yep. I like to capitalize as much as I can on my winners, and if I give myself a further target, it gives me less of a reason to cut. If I happen to be in that trade. That's if we can hold, again, first of all, 6650, 6648, 47. This kind of little 3-point range. That's the
Which
upside.
happens to be the Nomura CTA trigger equivalent. So you and Charlie McGowan are on the same page.
Nice. Now, if we can come down to 6635, so if we break below that 47, 45, I might be targeting 35, so a 20-point move down. There is a potential for a reversal there for some upside. That's kind of my first reversal area. So from 45, or call it 47 to 35 would be my first downward trade. If we can hold below 35, then my next target is going to be 6615. And there, I'm definitely looking for a reversal down there as well. Reversal, stall, whatever it is you want to call it. But that's where I'm going to find a floor, at least a temporary one. And if we can hold that, 6615, then I'm taking it back up to 6640. It's kind of my game plan for today.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, I have 6620 close enough.
Yeah.
So which is basically the 6,000, 6,600 SPX round number. So,
right.
Potato. So you're saying if we get there, then what? What's your if then at that number?
If we get there, then I'm going to be expecting a move to the upside back to 635.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Now, big if, but if we can't hold 6615, I'll be targeting 6595.
Well, I have a line there already.
Just looking off your
have a
chart
gamma
here,
wall
Doc.
there.
That's
And
kind
I
of
just love how the gamma walls and the other stuff tend to line up. They just tend to line up.
Yeah. So that's kind of the range I'm playing today. Pretty decent size range. I'm personally not going to be trading today, guys, just because it's NVIDIA earnings. I've gotten burned with that before. I'll be around, so if you guys have any questions, please ping me. But I like to sit on my hands, and I'll hit it heavy the rest of the week starting tomorrow. But
Yeah,
if I was going to go ahead, if I was going to trade, it's like what Doc said. I would be pretty aggressive to trail my stop. If you're one of my students, you know how I'm trailing my stop. But I think it's imperative to not expect massive moves and protect your profits today. I think it's going to be a choppy day. We'll still have big trends, I think, but they're not going to be easy to hold, in my opinion. So lock in your profits and get back into the trade is kind of my approach if I was trading today.
So I have a question here. The difference between ES and SPX, I think, was 22 when I checked last night. So 20, 25-ish. I'm pretty sure it's 22 last time I looked. You know, it could be a slight difference. So we can do the math right here. We're at 66.35 and ES is at 66.53, 54. So it looks like, let's call it 20 points for government work. And so you spoke about stops and how you would trade it. That reminds me, you have a course where you teach that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. We're having really good success with all the students that we've picked up. We will be launching a Black Friday sale today, if not tomorrow morning at the latest. But we got something good in the works for you guys. This works really well if you're good at reading the option chain, the option profile, but don't know how to execute. And it works really well if you have no system at all. So I kind of give you the 101 of what I'm doing in its entirety.
And from what I've heard anecdotally from people, is this really helps people when they're trying to pass or keep that whole prop trading thing. That's like a whole nother world I know nothing about. I've never had to use that, but I know that that's a thing. And I know I have friends that have been burned or spent 6 months spending money until they got in. So can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I just picked up a student here from OptionGale who's down, I don't know, over 90 grand on prop firm fees. So we're really going to try and flip that around for him, make him some money here by the end of the month. So looking forward to that.
That prop firm thing can be a trap. You know, kind of like, I hate to say it, but I will. Maybe I don't hate to say it. I'll say it anyway, whether you like it or not. It's kind of like throwing another dollar in the slot machine. I almost got it. God damn it. One more card.
Except this slot machine is $600 a piece, right? So big difference. But it is exactly like that. It makes you addicted to trading as opposed to targeting profit. And I think that's a big mistake if that's where you're going in. I think it's good to learn. You're learning with very little capital with still some upside potential. But if you do have some money, I always try and sway my students to trade even a small account of futures. The margin is much smaller. The margin requirement is much smaller than you think.
I'm not sure who that is, but somehow they broke in. You guys heard that?
I didn't hear what he said. No.
I don't know if it's on my Discord or if it's here on people out there in YouTube land and Twitterville. Were you able to hear that too? Oh, Vol Trader is here. Hey, Vols. Okay. Yes. Okay. You heard it out there in YouTube. Okay. So somebody broke in. Good for them. I hope they get 10,000 subscriptions and give me my cut. Okay, I'm going to put Vol on there. I don't know if you have a screen share or not, but give us your quick, or not so quick, down and dirty.
1-1. Can you hear me?
You're on.
Okay, but can you hear me?
I hear Vol Trader. I think. I'm not sure.
1-1. 1-1-1. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I haven't heard Doc's take, so I apologize if I repeat stuff. What I have on my end, and again, I'm mostly influenced by the implied volatility and the skew and stuff like that. I'm seeing a pin type of market for the Qs. So for the NASDAQ 100, I see it pinned lower QQQ wise around 59.2, 590, 590, 592. That's like its natural pinning level. What I see on the skew is that they basically sold both wings type of. Well, it's very subtle, not something that you see with your eyes, but it's pretty elevated at those levels and going down both sides. So the natural place for it, the compression would be there. Whatever it does, probably will mean revert lower. That's the best case scenario. And the worst case scenario, like it really drops today. Now we know we have NVIDIA, so generally market don't do things, and if they do the opposite.
So hold on. I just pulled up an NQ chart. What wings did they sell?
Well, from my analysis, the Q's most comfortable level would be 592, 590.
Oh, on Qs? Okay, let me switch to Q.
Yeah, pretty much yesterday's lows, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at Qs before.
The way
595 was a kind of a big level. 590, 600, obviously.
yeah,
there's
above
lots of
59,
right
above
there.
595, above 595, you do have a drift higher, but it gets weakened very easily. So, you know, maybe get pulled by the SPX. But if it's looking just isolated, the QQQ, the most convenient for market makers would be around 592, 590, which is close to the lows of yesterday, I assume. And a lot of times you find that you know, they put you in a very awkward position just before NVIDIA's earnings. So like, you know, you're at the edge. If you go short, right, or if you go long, it's like at the edge. It won't be like in the middle, somewhere convenient. So that's about the Qs. So under the market right now, under spot, should be a drift lower. Could be right off the open. And trigger wise, I'd say 595. It drops from there, just goes down. 5
Sorry,
points is around.
Quick question. Does 595, does the skew accelerate down or does it slow down?
From 595 going upwards, you lose the convexity. So basically, they sold a lot of calls.
Okay. And on the way down, let's say we start heading toward
September
595.
retail sales report.
So on the way down, you get some acceleration, a mild acceleration into the, say, 590, 589, and then it flattens out also.
Okay.
So they sold a bit of puts down there, which is positive. The fact that they sold puts is positive because anyone selling puts before, you know, well, they actually expire before NVIDIA, so that's okay. So my take would be if we lose 595, we drop 5 points, and that's it.
Real day trader, go real time at financialjuice.com/purchase.
I have no idea how that's bleeding
67%
through.
on a subscription. Let's make a big, beautiful deal, people. Come on.
I'm not sure how that's bleeding through. I don't know. Maybe if I have something on my Discord. I mean, I don't think I do, but whatever.
So 595, let's call 595 the line in the sand. And then we have 5 points each way.
Okay.
Right? Natural move of this market should be down, not up. If it goes up, you might get a squeeze because everybody's short. But you know, it's one day before NVIDIA. So
And
now
okay.
SPX, the way I see SPX is so I mapped it out on a chart. Let me try. I'll post it to you on the Discord, and you can post it there. 1 second, please. Mapped out pretty neatly, and this probably overlays yours, of course, but that's good if we all see the same levels. So it's in your Discord. You
Okay,
can see
let
it
me,
there. You can show it.
Give me a second. Let me try and dig it up. Hold on. Here it is. All right, let's just do it this way. I'm gonna do it the easy way. Okay, tell us what we're looking at.
Okay, so instead of mumbling about skew and stuff, what we see here, 1 second. What we see here is
The trade report rescheduled for November 21st.
I think that's financial juice, by the way.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's what it sounds like. I don't know why they're coming through on this.
yeah,
But
those
anyway.
are Brits. Anyways, so what I did here is I extracted the analysis into a visual aspect, and I have basically 3 levels to the downside and 2 levels to the upside. So the pre-market levels are
US
the
report rescheduled for November 25th.
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can figure out what that is. You keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can figure out where they're coming from.
So the pre-market is the FLZ down and up. That's the pre-market levels. As you know, the Greeks are still very strong. You don't have charm effects and stuff like that. That's pretty much the range for the pre-market. That's what I traded today. And for the actual session, so the highest odds would be either the MST down, which is around 600.
And the durable goods reports rescheduled for November 26th.
Around 600, 65.90. Those are the lows of yesterday. That would be the natural the natural price for the actual RTH session. And to the upside, we have that cluster of stuff around 65.50, 65.60. If we were to take that out, which you might say it's obvious because it's yesterday's highs, right? If we were to take that out, we can squeeze up all the way, I'd say, to 6680, 6700, right? That seems less probable as we are in a waiting pattern towards NVIDIA. So, and the Qs are less bullish potential.
As they see potential for huge growth in liquid natural gas in the US. NASA speaking at AI Investment Forum in Washington, D.C.
Do we have any idea? True.
Yeah, it's probably one of your tabs in the browser. In one of the tabs you have financial.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that, Doc, because it's not someone in the Discord.
Huh. All right, I'll have to figure it out.
Well,
Okay.
it has to be
Gotta close
someone
some
with
tabs,
a
Doc.
microphone. It must be someone with microphone privilege, right? So because
yes, I do somewhere and I don't know it.
because the NQ or the Qs are somewhat negative, right? And the odds of just the SPX blowing up are not that high. So between those two, you'll get a pool at least back to 66, 20, 10, and probably lower on the SPX. But it shouldn't break yesterday's lows before NVIDIA.
And yesterday's lows was 75.
Yeah, but I mean more like if you look at my chart, you can see those multiple candles and wicks all consolidated around 65.90 or so, right? That's your real pocket of liquidity. So you'll get a pool by the tech sector down here. You're gonna trade 66.20, 66.10 probably, and a bit lower.
Yeah, we're in that stop zone right here.
Yeah, the FLZs, you were busy with your with that audio thing. The FLZs are the expected tags for the pre-market. So we tag the upper section. Now we rotate back, and once the market starts, then you have those MST levels, which they have nothing to do with expected move. By the way, if they fall, it's just by chance. They can be larger, smaller. But you either tag the lower or the upper end. And obviously today, I think the tendency will be to go down and maybe mean revert rather than to explode to the upside in anticipation to NVIDIA. So I'm leaning a bit bearish, but not more than yesterday's lows on the market. That's pretty much my take. And once we do that move, then for me, it's 50-50.
And what's gonna just muddy the waters even more is the Vixpwey settlement and all that kind of mess.
I
That's just
don't,
gonna muddy it
yeah,
even more.
you're much more abreast on that, so maybe you can share what your insight is. So it expires right at the open. The opening print is the expiration.
Yeah, and so a quick version of this crazy thing is market makers, from what I understand, kind of bid what they think the opening quote is going to be for VIX. And of course, what happens is at the open, there's kind of these wide spreads, and let's just say I'll exaggerate, zero bid and $2 ask for whatever crazy stuff, and that just makes that a little more complicated, as well as them hedging that out. So it usually takes 15 minutes to an hour sometime for that to get all sorted out. I had a write-up of it somewhere. There's a lot of like moving parts in that might not be 100% accurate for the moving parts. And
But what
so
happened after expiration?
You have people expiring, and so all that's going on.
What happens immediately after expiration? Nothing.
Say again?
What happens like half an hour after it expires? Settles down?
Then that craziness and that dislocation kind of settles in. But then we have rolls, and we have people buying hedges for into whatever month whatever they do, into December or into February or January.
Which level is like which level is like the boom level? Like theoretically, if the VIX spikes to 23, what happens?
The big deal levels are 20, 22, and 25.
Well, 20 and 22 were trading there for the last 24 hours, so they're pretty much, touched and the hedge and whatever. But 25, well, that seems, a bit extreme, but theoretically, if they dump the market really, really hard now for some manipulation reason, they could theoretically get a print there. Now, it seems impossible. 4 points on the VIX, just like that. Nah.
Yeah.
22 seems top.
So somebody asked a good question. I'll try to do the best I can to answer it in about.
Dollar yen up 0.52% at around 156.34.
What the hell is this? This is annoying as fuck.
Doc, it's coming from one of your browsers. It's not coming from Discord.
Okay, it's coming from one of my browsers, one of my 312 open browsers. Okay. All right, I'll have to figure that out later. I'll get rid of that going forward. So anyway, let's talk about VIX real quick. Possible clues. And so the best clue is going to be, if I can find it here. Where do I have it? Here it is, I think. The best clue is going to come from the VIX and the VIX 9-day. And we're going to have to look at the forward VIX contract. This is the one expiring today, I believe. So we're going to have to look at the next forward VIX contract and see where that's trading in relation to VIX. And we would expect VIX to come down, unfortunately, with NVIDIA and NFP tomorrow. It might not come down as much, but I also expect vol to be in our favor. And we might get a little bit of that nasty open, but I think the default path is up, especially if we just don't break, all the way down, just into 60, below yesterday's lows, whatever. But again, just to say it again one last time, whoops, hold on, not that. Where is it? That. We have all these market maker, short customer long positions all through here. And so this is going to be whippy. That takes us to 65.75. Below that, we have sold cluster to support us, quote unquote. And so the big fight zone is 65.90 to 66.25. If we get over that, we have this other chop zone between 25 and 66.50. Over 66.50, we have a run to the border up to where both Vol Trader and Chewy saw kind of a topping pattern like below 6,700, 66.80-ish. That's where we have the sellers. And that's it. I'm gonna split for here, and I'm gonna see if I can track down these interlopers.
Good luck, everybody.
Okay, good luck. Bye-bye.